Hey, Moan, what's going on?
Dubs, DK. Nothing but dubs, man. That's all
Nothing
that's
but
going on.
dubs. I got a dub for you here.
What's that?
Last night or yesterday, or I've lost track of time here over the last 72 hours flying to LA and back. But I'm heading toward the Steelers locker room, and there's this contingent of fans walking by in the other direction like this, right?
Yeah, I'm
And
listening.
a guy yells out to me, super serious face, no joking, no humor.
Oh.
Hey, Moan!
No, he did, DK.
He did.
You're trying to make me feel good about how we're doing on this show.
The worst part of this is I'm walking in a pack of reporters who are like, reporters all competitive and everything. Like, oh, look at you getting the hey Moan on the wrong side of the continent.
Wow, DK, man. Hey, man. Hey, look, we said this thing would be all right because we got the best fans in the world. They showed up to LA. And we said if we do this podcast correctly, DK, that we would be all right. Did we not say that? You told me that, actually.
Yes.
You did.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's get us going here today.
Oh, you ready, man? Where's this bell at? It's time to hit it because we got dubs, and you know what? No matter how you get them, it's still a dub.
You know what? I like what you just said for a theme to the show.
Talk to me.
Because you can take people through the situation that they've never experienced. And that is this. When you're in that locker room with these 53 guys yesterday in Inglewood, California, they are not sitting there pondering how they won or what their various flaws might or might not have been over the course of the afternoon. It's one thought, Moan. What is it?
Win. Just win, baby. In terms of the old Raiders owner, right? Just win, baby, win. That's all we trying to do, DK. Because
go ahead.
Here's the thing behind that too, man, and all of that. And I don't even want to, sugarcoat what we're talking about and how wins are ugly and bad wins. I'll say this and there's so much more to get to on why it means so much. Because I'd much rather take a ugly win, right, by 1 point, heck, by a technicality, honestly, instead of having a tie or a loss.
You and your ties.
No, I'm dead serious, man, because it can go that way, DK, and I'd much rather have an ugly win any day than a tie or a loss, man. And for all the stuff that happens in those ugly wins on the road, Puka Nacua having a day like unheard of, man, and just how you had to rely on the defense. You know what happens on Mondays, man? After they get back, you go into the film, you figure out what you need to correct, and you say, you know what? That one's underneath us. We don't have to worry about that game no more, and we got a dub out of it. That's all that matters, DK, at the end of the doggone day, man.
Do you hear, do you read, do you see any of the noise that says, wow, what a crappy win?
Do I see that? Absolutely
no. I mean when you're playing.
No, heck no, because it's so hard. It's so hard. You're about to start seeing teams, man, mortgage themselves for next year already. You're about to see, the conversation of trade is always coming up. I think Halloween is the last day for the trade deadline. Some teams are positioned to get guys. Some are positioned to get draft picks. All of this plays a part into your team, Pittsburgh Steelers, not being in that conversation unless you're looking for a trade, trying to get better. But no, you're not in that spot. You're not one of those teams that's about to start selling off, capital for next year. You're actually in the hunt. Right now you have the first wild card, if I'm not mistaken, still in a division now that they're starting to say again, DK, I've been seeing it on my social media. I think I might have saw it on one of those big networks. For whatever it's like, it's a conversation. Is the AFC North the best division? That's coming back up because why? Cincinnati got the highest paid player in the history of the National Football League as it stands today, okay? And you got every team 500 and above with the idea that more of them can be in that conversation. And you're right now number 2 in the AFC North, 2 or 3, whatever it is.
It's 2 in the AFC North. It's 8th in the NFL. Okay?
Come on, man.
I mean, here's Hodge. Hodge is the one bringing it.
Yeah.
This hadn't even crossed my mind. Okay, but that's exactly right. He has 7-2 finish, 4-2 now, 11-4 since last year's bye. So there's a couple of different ways to look at this. One is that they get results. Is that Kenny Pickett gets results. 6 out of his 18 games have involved a successful fourth quarter comeback. 1 of every 3. You know who else had 6 of those in his first 18 NFL starts?
A single-digit number?
I believe so.
7?
I believe so. I believe you spent a pretty good chunk of your life making sure that he made it as far as he did in his career.
Yes, we did, DK.
And that's what you're talking about here. Okay, winning is a skill.
Yes, it is.
Understand this. When the head coach says after the game in Inglewood yesterday that it's a fight, it's always a fight.
Yeah,
he doesn't see the difference between 30-0 and 24-17.
No.
Okay, he sees the different steps along the way and what it took you as an athlete, Ramon Foster, as an athlete, to both mentally and physically perform to achieve that outcome. The end.
It is honestly that simple. And it's not no pat you on the back and say, hey, yeah, we all did good. There were still some things that have to, come to the forefront for this team to compete. And when we say compete, we're talking about the teams that are really good. We're talking about really good, right, DK? Teams like, of course, you're going to always bring up Kansas City and what they got going on, Philly and what they got going on. Buffalo crapped the bed yesterday.
Everybody does. People ask about, all right, well, if I'm supposed to believe in the Steelers, then what happened in Houston? What happened in Houston is what happens to everybody every week. Look at some of these results over the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay? Look at Baltimore and Detroit.
Yeah.
Do you think everybody right now in Detroit is saying the Lions are phony, they're fake, they're whatever else here? No, man. They just had an NFL weekend.
They got smacked around, DK. They did get smacked around. It was brutal. On Terrell Suggs' jersey retirement, if I'm not mistaken.
And coming back, the Ravens coming back as you did from London.
Yeah.
And covering that game over there, the Titans game, you would think the Ravens would have been all, out of sorts and whatever else here.
Yeah.
Heck no, man. That was a machine.
Great win, though, DK. I have to ask you because you were there, man. And, of course, I saw somebody just put up there. It was good seeing Troy Polamalu pop up. Joe Hayden was there also. And you guys probably didn't even realize that James Ferrier was in the building, too. Potsu was on the sideline for a little bit with his family and everything. It was good seeing Steeler Nation being represented, DK. How was it, man? Was it what we thought it was going to be? Because in a moment later in that game, that crowd was loud, man.
It was, they took it over pretty well. It's an unusual circumstance, Los Angeles. They have 2 teams there, and they don't want either of them. They have no use for either of them. They were just fine without the NFL for 30 years. Okay, they were just like, what do you want to do? You want to put the $2 billion stadium? Sure, put it right over there. Okay, How many teams do you want to have? Okay. So there's no enthusiasm for either of the teams there, especially the Chargers. Chargers are just San Diego's team. That's how everybody there still sees it.
That's terrible.
But the crowd,
yeah.
I mean, they were West Coasters.
Yeah,
I have evidence of that actually from talking to a few of them, but also seeing that the planes going back and forth to Pittsburgh weren't exactly filled. So this wasn't a traveled well kind of game. It's really far.
Yeah, it is.
I did see as I was roaming around the gates last night at LAX that this was funny, Moan. I actually should, if I was thinking on my feet, I would have taken a picture of it or video. But at each gate for each different city, there were Steelers fans waiting to board.
Out.
Yeah. Like there was a flight to Seattle. There was Air Canada jet nearby. And they were, each one of them had a whole bunch of black and gold. So that's where they are, Moan.
Well, you know what? They probably had to make up for that Houston loss, DK. The people from Texas finally showed up to a winning game on the road, man. And I'm glad that that's the case too, that this team ended up winning on the road, DK. There's a lot to get into, man, when it comes down to what this game entailed and how it worked out for us, man. What are we on the year now? 4-2. And not just you get by the skin of your teeth, 4-2, DK. The teams that this group has beat in a year, right? Where there's a lot of questions surrounding the quarterback, the coordinator. Oh my gosh, the cutaway to watch his reaction on the touchdown, it was petty by the network, but I guess the fans wanted to see that too. And he showed some emotion. He looked into the camera and said, "Let's go," or something like that. It was very fascinating how they keep up these narratives too, DK. But again, he got the dub. I'm sure he has in his ear to the street, Matt Canada, that is, on how this fan base feels about him, about what the expectation is for this team, and how they responded and won in LA. And again, those wins, let me go there real quick too, DK. The wins on the season. Cleveland won a squeaky one last week or yesterday and had a real good week. I mean, it has a real good defensive team. You beat the Vegas Raiders on the road again too. Bad loss to Houston, and you got a 2-game win streak against Baltimore, who look like they are trending in the right direction. And, of course, the Los Angeles Rams, who have a potential. I hate throwing this out, but they have a potential Hall of Fame quarterback in Matthew Stafford with his number one wide receiver, with the potential first ballot all-world defensive lineman on the road.
Oh, don't be leaving out Puka. Oh, my goodness. What a threat. You called that last week. What a threat that kid is.
Okay, DK, before we go any further, let me make sure my stat line is good, okay? Because here's what I said. And I saw somebody say this a second ago. Hold on, where is it at, DK? Before we go to the only segment that matters, DK. Here we go from Tyler. He goes, Moan, how close was your score prediction?
Oh, no.
Almost got a trifecta. Hear me out, all right? I said we're okay with Puka getting his as long as who don't get it, right, DK?
Yeah,
that was Cooper.
Kupp. Yeah, Kupp.
Cooper Kupp. He didn't. Cooper Kupp ended the day.
By the way, he didn't help himself either. There's a couple early drops threw him off, and you can see what a tremendous talent he is. But man, there was something off about him.
Before you go any further, what's that one saying that the coach I play for said about your problems?
Don't care.
We don't care. Either glad you got him. Okay, so we're ecstatic that Cooper Kupp had a bad day, but Cooper Kupp had 2 receptions for 29 yards. DK Puka did his thing. 8 receptions, 154 yards, no touchdowns. They couldn't really stop the run the way you needed them to, at least situationally. They kept the ball moving. Nobody had over 100 yards, but that 5.5 average with by Royce Freeman was a lot. I said this. You let Puka get his. Don't let him kill you. The one that can hurt you is Cooper Kupp. And then, of course, the score prediction. I'm gloating this week, okay, because we won on the West Coast. I said 24-20. It was 24-17.
Well, and if that dude could kick, he missed 3 kicks. He was killing you.
Did Boz play mind games on him or something?
I don't know what that was.
Boz put the ball in the exact same spot that he missed in and right down the middle for 53 yards.
Yeah.
By the way, we hadn't talked a lot. We hadn't talked enough about the job that Boz has done. And I don't want to talk that long about what
Kickers got to get their own show this week.
Like both pitchers. Okay. That's fair. Oh, my God.
Let's make a commitment.
Presley?
It's unbelievable. The 2 kickers right now, I mean, Boz is 11 for 11 on field goals, perfect on PATs, okay? And Presley, other than 1 kick in the very first game, the 49ers, it was the very first kick, unfortunately, so it really, burns a hole in your head. But other than that, he's been unbelievable. Tyler Johnson.
Boz and Press.
Got it.
Tyler
Johnson points out here before we switch to the next segment. Tyler says that Joey Porter Jr. had another great game. Wide receivers simply don't get open on him. I'm not going to call it a great game because the kid's got to learn how to tackle.
He does. I won't call it great. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. However, he was out there for 3 targets. All of them were Puka targets. 0 for 3 on those, including twice on 3rd down. Kid can cover. Kid can really cover. When we come back, we will be doing so for the purpose of the only segment that matters.
And that's Hey Moan, DK. Come on.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Whoa, we got some ifs flying in here today.
Man. Yeah. Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. All right, hang on. We're going to start reading some of these here. The barber comes in. Yeah, the boss is pretty impressed with John Somebody coming in with 70 gifts. John is I think he's one of these guys who's not necessarily always in the comments or whatever, but is a regular viewer of the show. And we know that there are a lot of you out there. Don't ever feel like second-class citizens.
No.
Because your name doesn't come on here. We appreciate every single viewer that you see up there.
Yeah.
Right now that count is at 611 for the live broadcast here. But we'll start here with the roll call here with our barber coming in with 5. Our old friend Ryan Lytle, who's a consistent friends of the show in many ways.
He shows up on my morning show too, man. Ron, I see you now. Just try to stay focused at the task, okay? Appreciate you showing up.
And then John started his day with a 20, and then John was like, "Nah, man, I'm gonna do another 20." And then John's like, "You know what? I'm just losing my mind here at this point."
Oh,
so, guys, listen, the way to capitalize on this, if you've been wanting to try out a membership, if you wanted to see what that's like and everything, make sure that you have accept memberships set on your YouTube channel, and then go ahead and get one.
Go ahead and get one, man. Absolutely. That way you can post these emojis that I'm about to, because this is all I saw flying on TV yesterday was the terrible towel. Okay, it was good. So I ain't gonna lie. The way that stadium bows out, it goes out and not up. The way those flags were just rolling in that stadium. Watching it on TV was it. Y'all make being a Steelers some cool stuff, man. Just because of support, and I'm done with that. Okay, it's just cool to see that support like that on the road.
No, there was support on the sideline too. Troy Polamalu, James Ferrier, Joe Hayden was there.
Beautiful.
Joey Porter Sr., of course, is now at every game.
Oh, is he better not be the helicopter parent out here, man.
Oh, he is so that.
Is he? You know what? Let me say this. For as wild as Joey Porter Sr. was in his play day, he played hot, right, DK? His attitude was go, but that's also what the league commanded. If we right on that one? Mm-hmm. The way that's what the league commanded at the time, and he played that style, and we all loved that style. It went some ways, some days, and it went some other days, right? But one thing I must acknowledge about him, whether Joey Porter Jr. want doing this or not, if he is showing up every game, DK, to me, I'm hoping he's showing him this is the way and how you move. When you're on the road, you're a pro. And if he got some extra eyes on his son to make sure he's successful, DK, I'm okay with that. But this is also
I just wanted to teach him how to tackle.
Well,
okay, I don't know, not to be rude.
One thing at a time, okay?
All right,
One thing at a time.
Watching this kid, like, whoa, no, seriously, do they not have tackling school at Penn State?
Well, you know, when you cover the way he does and make the plays that he did, we gonna learn to deal with it at some point, DK. We'll learn to deal with his lack of tackling. But I just want to say shout out to Joey, man. But Joey's also from the West Coast too. But it's cool that they got that bond like that. I love it.
Yeah, we have was Matt Canada checked into concussion protocol after that final drive. You know, Moan, you mentioned it too, you know, the reaction that he had to the touchdown. But you and I were telling people a couple of weeks ago when this silly fuss came up over the non-reaction and he had to call a 2-point play. The guy was at work.
He was.
This is actually what's common. These guys aren't – this guy's not a monster. You can dislike his play calling. You can want him fired and everything else here. But this – what were people thinking with that? They
wanted it to be real, like he didn't care. But if you look at almost any coach after a scoring drive or a big play, their head is down looking at the next play because what's happened The call that was
this.
successful, he already knew what the end results could be. So because of that, it's the next play. It's just how it is. Like, I know for a fact, we get mad at coaches for feeling like they don't have a plan, to where you're too busy being a spectator and not actually coaching the game. Like, he was actually coaching. So you got to take that for what it is. Of course, DK, what'd you just say? Whatever you want to be real will be real to you if you feel like he don't care about the play on the field.
Now, Chandler Chase points out it's incredible to see the leadership of Deontay Johnson to react the way he did after George Pickens' blindside block. And he did, and I give him credit for that. And I compartmentalize it because when you see George get a taunting penalty that negates a really nice gain.
It was huge.
And then you see Deontay do it. Like, Deontay had a little bit of an explanation. And I asked him about it afterward. And he said, listen, the guy that he was doing it to, that he did the shush to, was Akello Witherspoon. Okay. And he said, me and Akello we're tight.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that the referee
don't understand that.
But shouldn't.
That's true.
That's not the referee's responsibility to go, oh, but they're buds. It's okay. All right. So Deontay gets up from the catch. By the way, Mike Tomlin was the one that helped pick Deontay up. He did. Off the sideline, picked him up. Deontay looks at Akello with a big smile on his face and goes like this, because Akello, I'm sure, had been talking the whole game. and the ref throws the flag, and Deontay goes, oh, no. But I wasn't actually taunting him. He's my guy. You still can't do it. You still can't do it.
And was it before the game, too, that the NFL handed out a, hey, no fighting, no taunting warning to everybody, too? Like, they've tweaked the rules before. So the referees, this is the overreaction to their reaction of players getting into scuffles before games and whatnot.
Yeah, there's just it's they've got to be mindful of it. They've got to be aware of it. Afterward, George Pickens said that that the Rams secondary entered the game with the outlook of getting him to take a dumb penalty.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
They were trying to get under his skin, and I'm sure again that also came from Akello, who was around George.
Yeah.
And he said, this is the one that we can go after. Let's get 15 yards off of him.
I love that you said that, and it was somewhat confirmed too, because people ask all the time, hey, how does player A that used to play for the Steelers gonna affect player B now on another team? You know what I'm saying? Oh, the hidden tips and stuff. Oh, they're gonna know the playbook. What did you say Akello said about this team? He was trying to find ways to get George Pickens to get a penalty. The playbook and stuff like that don't matter. It's how I can affect your attitude. If you have one small technical thing, that's the advantage right there. And I'm glad to see George didn't bite on it in those types of ways.
Now, tell me this, Moan. You're playing for this head coach for 11 years. How does he handle a situation like that when it's not a holding penalty, not a false start, but just an outright, like, boneheaded, silly, selfish penalty?
But you talking about George on the blind side, or George trying to get
the taunting? How does the head coach handle that?
It's a lot easier to handle whenever you win. Let me say that first, okay? If you lose, the conversation is what? We can't have boneheaded, stupid decisions that make us lose games. In a win, we can put some icing over the top of this and say, hey, be smarter than this the next time. Hey, I love your spirit. I love the fact that you know each other and you're going at one another, but be smarter. We are in this business to win games. That is by far one of the biggest things he always say. If you're taking away from us winning games, you can't help us. So moving forward, learn from it, because now you're going to be caught by not just me, but other DBs and the referees. That's how you handle it. It's much easier in the dub, DK.
Moan, it's that time of the show where we have to pay tribute to the best football player on the planet. Not the best defensive player, the best player on the planet. TJ's interception, and I was doing this earlier after I woke up. It was a long night. A really long night flying home on that yellow bucket of bolts.
That's how you preferred, DK.
Yeah. And the more I looked at TJ's interception, the more I saw him jump that route that they had for Cooper Kupp. Kupp was covered.
Yep.
TJ lurked.
Yep.
And he lurked in an area where he didn't think Stafford would be looking because Kupp was coming in the – that is – this is – I say this all the time here about TJ, but he's not just an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Okay, he was required multiple times in this game to drop into coverage and make something happen. But to make that happen, that's like Minka level stuff.
I can go further. It's Troy level stuff.
Go.
It's Troy level stuff, okay? It's offensively Antonio Brown breaking the slant for 70 yards, right? We're talking about this type of playmaking ability. It's Antonio Holmes level, right, DK? Say what you want to about Tone. Those years he had in Pittsburgh, you say to yourself. So he's in that conversation, right, DK? So
he is.
Luke put that up there. TJ's interception was epic, but it's also this from Matt Wilcox that goes, "Hey, Mon, why is there any question who the best defensive player in the world is?" And I know what you guys are talking about, but DK, here's the thing that we've said on this show, right? What you guys are witnessing is the big celebration, the big boom, okay, right? Of what the networks want you to see. But it's people that have that job and title of being a voter, that when it comes down to defensive player of the year, they understand the effect that he has on games and the plays that that's been made by him too. TJ has to be the best player in the entire world when it comes down to his level of play and consistency this year, DK, and it's not even close. Clutchness is there. Only the player that's making plays like that in this league this year, DK, it's probably two. Tyreek is good enough. Tyreek Hill. And just a surprise guy, Puka Nacua, that you're not like, who else is making play? Because Josh Allen is dropping the ball. Myles Garrett, of course, you can say what you want to about him, but they squeaked out a win yesterday too, right? Who else is making plays at the level and consistency that TJ is week in and week out? I'll wait on an answer.
Oh, you're not going to get it. I mean, you're not going to get somebody. You can look at, like, for example, the Miami offense collectively and say that. Okay, but is there somebody, you mentioned Tyreek? Is there an MVP in there?
Yeah.
Who's the quarterback that's risen above the pack? Because that's your MVP
this year.
99 times out of 99 times out of 100.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
But I don't have one.
Yeah.
I really don't.
And it's going to be fascinating to see how the MVP votes kind of, play themselves out this year, because to your point, DK, there's nobody absolutely setting the world on fire and what they got going on. Now, yes, I will agree with this. TJ and Myles Garrett are both having 2 career years. They are. It's just plain and simple. He had 2 sacks yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, in a blocked field goal. I saw Cleveland fans saying, "Show me TJ Watt doing this." And there's actually a clip by Vince Williams that showed TJ Watt blocking kicks like that. Okay, DK?
Yeah,
so
right.
He's been there, done those things, man. It's just fascinating to watch the national narrative kind of scathe over Pittsburgh in a sense. I'll say this. Maybe it's a little bit of the Pittsburgh hate. I can say that because we as players sometimes felt that way in those terms, okay? But he should be on that same page as the rest of those guys that are putting up there. The Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, and TJ. And it should be TJ, Myles, and Micah. Say what you want to about that. That's your 1, 2, 3. And I can't wait till the votes come out, DK.
The second edge rusher to bring up on today's program, this is just me doing this. This isn't coming from you guys. Sorry, I'm kind of hijacking the segment. is Nick Herbig. He got his first sack. He did it using the Alex Highsmith move. He saw Highsmith do it earlier in the game. So here's this rookie who had this brilliant, and I don't think that's a stretch of a term, preseason in terms of what he showed that he could become a part of in the National Football League, who's not sitting on the sideline pouting, but he's sitting on the sideline watching intently what the guys at his position are doing and what they're dealing with. So he saw a couple of things yesterday. One, he saw that TJ was being moved from side to side. Mike Tomlin was asked about that afterward. He said, "We saw what they were doing to TJ's usual side, and we're not going to sit there and play along with that. We're going to move him around." Okay, so they did. 2, he watched Highsmith and the moves that he made, and he was getting pressure. Now, Highsmith had a kind of one of those exasperating days where he was creating legitimate pressure. And by the way, it was Highsmith that caused the pressure on the interception, TJ's interception that we just described. So the kid watches him. He goes out there and he gets his sack. He does it exactly in his first NFL sack. And if you want to know what this kid is all about, if you thought I was leading you into something, I am.
Oh, come on, DK, show us.
This is 40 seconds in the locker room yesterday in Inglewood. I've been saving this for you guys. This is me and Nick Herbig, but watch TJ and Alex in the background, and you can even, if you listen closely, you can hear them. They love this kid. They treat him like a little brother. Watch this.
Nick Herbig, first sack out of the field. We're taking abuse from this guy already. You gonna catch him?
Nah, that's that guy right there. I call it the Alex Highsmith throw, that move. All glory to God. Thankful to be here. Thankful for the opportunity, and really appreciate my teammates pushing me every day.
Walk me through it, because you got back there pretty cleanly.
Yes.
He just credited you.
Yeah. Shout out to Alex for real. That's his move right there.
That's his move?
Stole it right out the book. So really credit to Alex.
Yeah, good feeling though in general.
Yeah. You work your whole life to get to moments like this. And Mike T always says, when the opportunity comes, don't blink. So.
You guys want to see something cool? Not you, Moan. The rest of them. Look at the face over there next to me. That guy has spent his lifetime in football locker rooms, and that's what his face looks like after a win. Okay, yeah. He's in that vibe just watching that video right now. It's a really good group, Moan.
You can hear that, man. And you also hear somebody cracking on TJ. If I'm not mistaken, on the interception, you hear somebody in the background, excuse me, parents earmuff your kids like, get your big ass in the end zone. I was talking to TJ. You work this hard, keep going, TJ. That
when he stopped at the 7-yard line, what are you doing? You got to punch that in.
Get in there, TJ.
That's the best.
That is good right there, man.
But that's also, when people say, what's the value of veterans or older players or whatever? That's the value of having a Marcus Golden or someone like that as part of that group. Okay. Yeah. He's the older guy out of those 4 edge rushers, but he's not afraid of talking to TJ Watt.
No, absolutely not, man. That's some good energy right there, man. And he's right. That was Alex's move. He got there. You can tell it looked like Matt Stafford just knew that hit was about to come. He jumped off the edge really, really good, man. That was a good day for the young boy. But I'll say this too. He needed to make that play. That was a play for him to make. And I'm sure it's good to have that monkey off his back, DK. That is some huge stuff, man. And this is the other portion too. Marcus Golden, right? Also, they're able to go in at outside linebacker and give TJ and Alex a break. That's all you're looking for when you have premier rushers like that. I don't think, in my opinion, there's a better tandem when it comes down to how this rush team is between TJ and Alex is. As good as we thought Bud and TJ was, I don't think it has anything on what Alex and TJ has going on, DK.
It's neat to start seeing these younger players in general weave their way into the picture. A lot of comments here I see is about Joey Porter Jr. This kid gets out there. Nick Herbig has his first impact. His confidence from there goes sky high. He's now got an NFL sack. He's got a highlight. He's real. He's one of the boys. Yeah. Okay, the whole deal. It's really everybody other than Broderick Jones, it feels like, is out there. And that subject has come up today too, Moan. What was your assessment of the offensive line in general, but especially the hot button guys?
Good, not perfect, but better. I think we saw a better version of Mason Cole because James Daniels was back. I know Chooks had his issues in that game, but all in all, a good day for a team that rushed well at the quarterback.
Other than the penalties, I thought Chooks was good, man.
I know. And one of them was a little questionable to me, but it was still called, right? I will say that. But the group looked good. Having your 5 guys look like it's the remedy for success when you have an offensive line, DK. That's just what it looked like, man. Again, and I said this too, Broderick versus Dan Morris, the conversation. You look back at the game, you tell me this. Did Dan Moore sustain his starting position? Yeah, because you have to give a guy a chance to prove that he doesn't deserve to start. That is the biggest question that we had going into it. Can Dan Moore stand the test? And the answer is yes, he is. Now, somebody asked that in the Hey Moan section, DK, just a second ago. Give me 1 second, man. I had it saved. It pretty much said, what are we to do with Dan Moore and Broderick Jones? Right here from Ray. Ray says, hey, Moan, did Dan Moore Jr. earn the right to remain the starting left tackle? Yes. What more are we asking for out of the guy? And John asked the same exact question. What do we do about Moore and Jones? You tell Broderick Jones this. Continue to be a pro. Your time will come, and we know it's there, right, DK? If I'm a vet, I'm talking to him. I'm saying this. Bro, listen to me. You just continue to work. When that opportunity sniffs, and it's not because of an injury, you kick that door in and you don't give it back. That's the only way around this right now as far as this year. Had he won it out of camp or they said, hey, we don't know, fight it out, until then, you just hope that Dan Moore continues to play well. Where are you at on this one, DK?
Where I'm at is on the Jaylen Warren 13-yard touchdown run. Remember the 62-yarder in the preseason? And remember the fun breakdowns that we did with it?
Absolutely.
Thanks to Mike Hoover, by the way, for the gift, the contribution.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciated. This was kind of similar. It wasn't 62. It was only 13, but it got into the end zone. Every single block was nailed per the script. You don't see that all that often. There aren't many perfect sequences, are there, Moan?
Man, how many in the game? 5, maybe. 5 out of like 65 plays.
Something like that. But to have everybody hit the way they did. Cole in particular, I thought Mason Cole really chewed up his nose tackle.
Yeah.
By that doesn't mean he knocked him over or whatever else. He engaged.
Man on man.
That's all he did. He engaged legally, and the nose tackle never got off it. That doesn't matter if you pancake the guy or not, because he's not, as long as he's not involved in the tackle.
Yeah. If he's reaching, I mean, it's too late for him unless he's going to face mask somebody.
He did. He reached.
Yeah, he reached.
He came forward with both arms, and so did Cole, and that was the end of him.
Mm-hmm.
So once Warren gets past him, Isaac Seumalo takes out just with a little bit of a chip.
That's all you need.
And gets his guy done. I'm trying to remember because I talked to so many of these guys yesterday. It might have been Rodney Williams, by the way, which is another subject for another day.
A7
that got out there with his
block. Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
And I asked him about his role, and he said, my job isn't so much to throw a block as it is to make sure that he runs this direction on me. I'm not preaching to the choir here, okay?
Yep.
Everybody hit it, including James Daniels down the field.
Yep.
Second level. That's a 13-yard run that Jaylen has one cutback and one decision to make. He made the right one, and he was in the end zone. I liked what I saw of the line, like everything else.
Yeah.
In the third and fourth quarter, and not before that.
And not before that. You're 100% correct. When it comes down to putting together a whole game, we still said that offensively they hadn't put together a whole game. But they close out games when you need them to through the assistance of the defense. Say what you want to about it. It's team ball at its finest. As much as the defense is helping out to get possessions, to keep the defense, to win the line of scrimmage game as much as possible, win the field positioning game as possible, this group is answering when you need them to, DK. I must say that. Punching in those balls on the tight red zone, they were doing it. They made plays to keep the defense on the sideline throughout the course of this game, and they did it with a travel too. So I can't overstate or understate, DK, what that travel to the West Coast means, getting that monkey off your back as far as, hey, this group can't win on the West Coast. To me, that still plays a part. That's why I'm really excited about what this win was, because we heard those narratives. You guys can't win in Vegas. You can't win in LA, and I'm glad they did.
And that'll help them when they fly to Seattle on New Year's Eve.
Dog, they got another one?
Oh, yeah. What a schedule. Josh Patrick says, hey, Moan, as a player, should taunting be a penalty? I feel like anything short of physical contact should be allowed.
Taunting incites.
It's the only sport that does it.
It
can talk
incites.
all the trash you want in hockey, baseball, basketball.
But there's a difference in the athlete, DK.
Okay.
and the style of play. At least in hockey, you can duke it out, like right then and right there.
Yeah, this is a good point.
Okay. Yeah. Say what you want to about it. And in football, there's so many different moving parts that you kind of, if you let people taunt and incite violence or mocking people the entire time, DK, that's a recipe to blow up. Now, you know football athletes just as good as anybody else, DK. If we allowed that jaw jacking to continue on, how many laid out bodies would end up on the field? Numerous.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I get why they do it. The physical contact. If you want to go get somebody, you get them in between the snaps. If they got you on one, you tell them, keep your head on a swivel because at some point in time, I'm getting you back.
Grayson Brown is like one of about 100 people bringing up my haircut here.
Yeah.
You know, ask me who my favorite barber is.
Talk about him, DK.
It's not a him. It's a her.
Oh, is Dolly? Dolly's the one that's cutting you up?
Yeah, she loves cutting hair. She can literally do anything. And she cut her kids' hair. She cuts her mom's hair. And I actually was on the chair right after her mom. This was before the flight out to LA. So she's actually really, really good.
So not only can she give our biggest rival a new name, the Raisins, but she's also good with a razor in her hand is what you're saying.
Dude, I was talking to somebody in the press box yesterday, and I said raisins, and I didn't even mean to. Like, they were on the monitor, the Baltimore-Detroit game, right?
Yeah.
And I said, oh, look at the raisins. And I was like, oh, my God.
Oh, me oh my. Yes.
Here's Clay coming in. Oh, Grayson had an actual
we got to
question.
finish it.
Yeah, sorry, Grayson.
You did get a cut.
Good contribution. Most impressive win of the season. KP8 looked like KP8 in the post-bye last year, and we saw holes for 22 and 30. Yeah, but we saw it in the second half. We didn't see it in the first. Moan, could that be just a post-bye thing that it was going to take them a while to get into the groove, or what?
I would want to make that excuse and lie for you because I know how it is coming out of the bye, though, DK. There is a little bit of a lull, but what if it's the same thing next week, starting off the game a little bit slower?
Good.
It won't be good. So, Grayson, I'll say this. It's something that has to be fixed early, okay? That first half of runs must get there, okay? Have to get there. And as far as Kenny goes, DK, and we talked about this last week too, the guy's a competitor. We got to respect it. And again, as much as we talk about this group and how bad they are, they hear it somewhat, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. There's a sense of pride that goes into it. But again, don't do it for 1 week. Stack it up for me, okay?
You know, where Kenny is concerned, you guys want to hear a crazy stat? He completed his last 11 passes.
It looked like it.
Okay. And some of them were a back shoulder, sideline,
stuck
20,
one
30,
in the middle right there.
And he stuck in the middle. He found Connor Hayward. That almost ended up being the winning touchdown. Hayward got down to the 3.
Yep.
He was good.
He was good.
Okay. He was good. The Steelers had 192 yards of offense in the fourth quarter alone. Do some multiplication on that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they usually get in a game.
They were cooking.
3 touchdowns. The first 3 rushing touchdowns of the entire season. Kenny's keeper and 1 each for Jaylen and Najee. Other than Kenny busting one, a big one, and he almost had those too because Deontay nearly broke one of his to go all the way here. George is a threat every time he touches the football. You know, there's so much that was so good about that second half that it still feels like it's got to take some work to override the first half, doesn't it?
It does. And Dirk, you're right, man. It does turn into prime Ben and Eli where those comeback boy moments, man. Again, I'm with you, DK. Fire me up from the beginning. Let me see the fuse lit and go from beginning to end and come out of the second half too. It's fascinating to watch and know he's capable of doing a lot of stuff. And what's frustrating about it is you don't get it over the entirety of the game. That's what's most frustrating about it, DK. Again, the spots that he's putting the ball at was good. The wide receivers, him and George with his back shoulder fade, him being able to find Deontay, incorporating Connor. By the way, I'll say this, but as far as what we're getting out of Connor Hayward for the job that he's done, and one thing that cannot be overlooked and overshadowed, DK, this dude's playmaking ability with his hands can't be talked about enough. Connor Hayward's good when the ball's in his area.
He doesn't miss.
It is, man.
Yeah, he's money with the ball in his. I like the way you worded it. In his area, you put it in his zip code somewhere. He's going to find a way to catch the ball and then make something else happen from it. It's an unusual. We knew that when he was drafted. It's an unusual skill set, and you had to work with him more than the other way around because he also comes with some limitations. Not a big dude, not super fast. All he does is make plays.
Yeah, and that's all you're asking for, DK. When it comes down to what he's freaking capable of. I love to watch him do work just because he's getting rid of that Cam Hayward's little brother stigma that's following him around. He's just Connor now for the most part.
Clay wants to know, Moan, from your perspective on Najee's touchdown, did it look like the handoff was originally supposed to go to Connor Hayward on the sweep, or do you think that was the design?
You asked for creativity.
Yeah, I can tell you, Clay, actually, it was Rodney Williams and Rodney threw the key block on this, and Rodney told me that the thing went exactly to plan.
That's
Connor does a lot of the back and forth. Connor did the tush push, by the way.
Yes, he did. By the way,
I know.
Let's do it because we won. But yes, I think that's exactly how the play was supposed to go. DK just confirmed it. That's how the place was. There's some undressing that goes into it. If that's what it takes, also, this is what we spoke about, right, DK, last week, Clay? If that's what it takes for Najee to allow the line of scrimmage to move a little bit for him so that he's not running into darkness, that's what you do then.
They made a lot of things happen offensively, too, by the way, without utilizing Calvin Austin. Really hardly at all. Think about it.
Yep.
And they still don't have Anthony McFarland back. He was held on to IR. So there's still more that can be done. And one of the things we're going to bring up this week, too, is that if Rodney Williams is playing tight end, Connor Hayward is playing a tight end, and Pat Freiermuth is out for 4 weeks, where was Darnell Washington?
He's still ailing, from my understanding, right, DK? He's okay. Well, here's the other thing, though, too. What is his role? Does he attract too many flies when he's on the line of scrimmage, DK?
Maybe sixth man. I mean, maybe he advertises that it's a run. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, those are things that are said in the meeting room, that coaches, the stat people that figure those types of things out. Maybe it was a good switch up, DK, but it was successful, right? More than not from this past weekend.
It was certainly successful from about the middle part of the third quarter onward. I think that's the best way, to put that here. We're going to take just a couple more.
I got to ask you before we take a couple more. As Sergio let us know that it is a Victory Monday, okay? Line to gain or not on Kenny? On the did he get the line to gain on the fourth down or what? You know what,
Kenny this actually came up with Kenny because he and all he did was smile and say, "I tried really hard. I fought for it." He fell.
Yeah, he did. He fell.
Either slipped or I thought he might have tripped over Dan Moore's foot as he was going to that side. There's also a chance that Connor Hayward's tush push affected it. I never had the chance to ask Kenny about that. I had other questions for him. Dan Moore said he thought he didn't make it. At least his view from saying over the sideline. And you know what? It doesn't matter because Sean McVay burned his challenge. He said afterward to the California reporters that it was not a challengeable play. That's false. It was challengeable. He was out of challenges. That was a really clever way to word that on his part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
But you know what? I thought that Allen Robinson in the play before that got a lousy spot.
I did too.
Okay.
I did too. Sure did.
So I'm not about to look, if you're the Rams, if you're focused on that,
so be it. Yeah. There was other reasons you lost.
Yeah. If you get the ball there, you're no cinch to go, whatever that would have been, 60, 65 yards. People love to hang on to stuff like that because it's dramatic and whatever. But
I just asked everybody in our chat to put in, we do not care. It's good being on the right side of these things, DK. I'll take that.
Francesco echoes you. The barber echoes you. Yeah.
Cat Manada does. I see you right now.
Cat Manada. That's just how it goes here.
Yeah, fish and trout. We do not care. Y'all are so right, man. It's rare. I feel like we get those moments right there. One for the good guys on that one, DK.
No, Leslie comes in understated. I like hers the best. It's just like it's lowercase, no punctuation, no all caps. You guys are too dramatic for Leslie. Leslie, because Leslie, if you don't care, that's how you do it.
Yeah,
you actually, it's ambivalence. You don't go like here. Like, look at the difference between Leslie and Siobhan here. Siobhan is caring
like me.
way too much
Siobhan's
to
like
not
me.
care. Okay, Leslie definitely wins this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it, DK.
Look what you started here.
I asked him to, DK. I'm here for this. All right. It's coming in droves too. I love you guys, man. I got a good one, DK. That's real solid, man. From Ryan, if you don't mind, real quick.
Yeah,
and this one. Hey, Mon, is the rookie wall real? Do you think rookies not playing early could stop the rookie wall? I think there's a little bit of fairness in that. Rookie wall being the thing, you don't realize it till the end of the season anyway. And the other part of hitting the rookie wall is also, in the Bahamas. That's why she don't care. One thing about the rookie walls too is managing your time during the season. You do well at that, you'll be all right not to hit it.
I have a feeling I know who's getting today's crown for top performance on the show. With all due respect to all the gifts and everything else that we were blessed to receive, especially from John Somebody coming in with 70 of them, I have a feeling Leslie's going to be honored after this one here. Last one for today here comes from Francesco. Why didn't Keanu Benton play? Barely. He has like 9 pass rush snaps with 3 pressures out of this. Play the man. I'm going to tell you why, and you guys aren't going to like the answer. What were the 2 words that you heard more than any other in the opening half? The 2 words that were spoken, I guarantee you, on the broadcast. I don't hear the broadcast or whatever, but I know they were the ones named Montravius Adams.
Yeah, that's true.
Montravius was everywhere. He was stopping the run. I feel bad now. I didn't even mention him in my coverage, my written coverage from LA as I'm saying his name out loud. I thought he was out freaking standing. And you needed that. Now, they weren't great against the run in the first half. There were some practice squad guys the Rams were using back there.
Right.
Okay? But he took it.
Yeah, he did.
He took the challenge that was put in front of him and made it happen. They need Cam Hayward back.
They do.
Okay?
The run game was somewhat problematic in spurts. They were just getting chunks and chunks at a time, man. But here's the thing, too, about Keanu Benton being out there, too. They were a team that were also getting the ball a lot quick. Like the idea early in the game that they was just pitching and catching, and the personnel probably decided that he didn't have to be out there. You put Larry O and Montravius Adams out there, you could have been a tandem. Montravius did a good job of effecting the game. Now, Keanu had his moments too when he was in. But again, if I'm Montravius, pretty much need this game and for my career, you're going to see me show out.
And then there was Larry O out there, too, balling out here. And just as I say that, Luke comes in with a Larry O reference. That's why I love you guys. Seriously. I love when we're on the same page with stuff like this after watching the same event, but having so many different types of viewpoints and everything else. It's part of what makes this show great, but especially the day after the game. You know what I mean, Mo?
So
I feel like we could do like 10 of these.
We could. It's light work, DK. It's over 900 in here right now, man. You guys are awesome. I'm seeing one come up, DK. I wonder, do you have any more information on it, man? Cam's timetable is still about that long, 10 weeks?
It is. Okay. I want to see Cam get back on the field. It's not going to be this week. Cam has, by the way, you guys should be aware of this. Cam has his annual kindness week, Cam's kindness week, in which he takes the initiative, and it is him. This is not a guy who needs someone from the Steelers community relations office to come over and ask him for a favor. Okay.
Right.
Cam spends one day each week with a different worthwhile cause across Allegheny County. Not all of them. Some of them, they don't even allow cameras,
right?
Or media or whatever, because it's just Cam going there to do his thing. It's a special week for him, aside from football. But yes, he will be back soon.
Wow. Just the alert came through. They suspended somebody for unsportsmanlike conduct, late hits, man, legal hits. Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, they're working. Okay?
Yeah,
They're trying to do things. Look,
Kareem
we
Jackson.
we could do a whole show on this.
Yeah,
Okay. But the NFL has work to do to make sure that they're avoiding lawsuits, that they're avoiding CTE, that they're even from a good-hearted nature.
yeah, absolutely.
To make sure that people can live healthy lives after playing this great game of football.
Yep, I agree
And
with
there's
that.
people I put skirts on them and whatever else, and Jack Lambert this or that or whatever. Man, I'd rather see a healthy Ramon Foster being a healthy husband and father to his children, after banging his head against people for 11 years.
Exactly, DK. Much appreciated, man. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Whew.
that stuff matters,
Mm-hmm.
Daryl Lalonde has a real problem with some of you people, kind of like George Costanza's father on Festivus. He says, I got a problem with some of you people. The airing of grievances here includes that there are 928 people watching, which there are live, and there's less than 300 likes.
That's tough.
Are we having a bad show?
I can't believe we're having to ask DK or just have Daryl, suggest that there's not enough.
Daryl didn't want to have to do that on this show. Daryl was like, I just want to sit back and watch this show and enjoy it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to step up like this.
I've hit the like button myself, DK. That's how you know I'm serious about this craft, man. That's wild stuff, man. Wild stuff.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. When we come back, we'll be presenting the crown to a certain somebody.
Hey, let's do it, DK.
All right.
Victory Monday. There we go. I just burped so loud, DK. You missed it. It was epic too. That was an epic burp right before the mic turned back on, man.
Oh, geez. I did kind of hijack the Hey Moan. Look, we've got all week.
You did.
There's so much stuff that we can talk about that's just so fresh,
Like Boz and Presley Harvin. We're gonna talk about him. We'll get back down to the Broderick Jones and Dan Moore conversation. I saw a lot of questions being asked. Is it time to just unleash Joey Porter Jr.? DK, I feel like you have more information on what we saw happening.
I told you guys last week he was going to play a lot. Nobody believed me. They're like, no, but he said he's not going to start. It's just watch. He's going to play. Patrick Peterson was supposed to be moving to the inside, but guess what ended up happening in the second half?
What's that, DK?
Pat Pete goes to the outside. Levi Wallace goes and stands with the coaches.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a pretty significant benching right in front of everybody that not everybody seemed to, on the outside seemed to pick up on.
Yeah. Yeah, DK. Very, very interesting, man, how this team is kind of shaping up to kind of finish this season on. Now, again, they got streaky towards the latter part of last year, right? And you hope that bye was what they needed. I'll say this too, the incorporation of Dejounte, again, can we all see the playmaking capabilities that he has? I think that's very unique. It felt like it opened it up for other people where you didn't feel like if George wasn't there, then God, who the heck are we going to?
Both Kenny and George acknowledged the Dejounte effect. George was in man coverage, in one-on-one coverage, more in this game than he had been in any game since the opener. Well, what's the difference? Dejounte was back. I thought Kenny could have done even better in terms of capitalizing on George being one-on-one. But you can see the difference between the two of them, meaning how they also were switching left-right, by the way.
Yeah.
That was something else that was nice, that they're both equally comfortable on either side. You can tell, especially Dejounte.
Yeah. So
you couldn't even load up one side. You couldn't have safeties leaning to one side or the other. Really impressive.
And it was good, too, to hear, of course, the commentators on the game speak highly of both of those dudes and what they're capable of. And that's what I think we're all looking for. Dejounte and George in unison, man, as far as what they can do to defenses, dog. I love it. I see comparisons right now, Levi Wallace to Artie Burns, all those types of things, man. The game handles itself, right, DK?
It does. It always does. I just feel like all of this comes down to it was a question that I had for Kenny. afterward, and it was deliberately vague. And all I said was this a step forward for the offense? And he knows what I'm asking.
Yeah.
They obviously won the game. They obviously got 3 rushing touchdowns, whatever. And he knows what I'm asking. And his response was, I legitimately believe that it was. I believe that things started to happen out there that weren't happening before. And again, he referenced Deontay and George and whatever else, but there was more to it. There was. How about Aaron Donald?
I know. He gave most of the time on the sideline. Let's talk about. I mean, again, like you said, it's so much to go over in this game, and we got a few days to actually do that too, DK. That I'll take the idea that this group had a way better game than they did. Meaning the Rams, you won on the road. Their premier guy, Cooper Kupp, didn't beat you. Puka Nacua had a day, but again, you allow one to eat without getting broken by the other. Cooper Kupp could have broke this team, and he did not.
Something else to make a note of for another episode as we go through this week here is that the TJ switching sides thing was one of several defensive adjustments that were made at halftime that were very effective by both Tomlin and Terrell Austin. And I can get into some of those specifics here. We'll talk about those as well here. Lots to unpack here still.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Good people. Tomorrow, DK, we shall unite.
Yeah, that is how. Oh, do you have the crown?
I got the crown.
Okay.
Right here.
And who's this going to?
Go ahead, DK. Put it up.
It's Leslie.
Somebody laid out in the
laid back in the Bahamas.
That's such a flex.
She should have her little cocktail umbrella and everything else, and she'd be holding up this crown. And everybody's looking at her like she's nuts.
That's such a flex right there. Laid back in the Bahamas. Wow.
There actually was too.
That's such a flex.
We see right through you, Leslie. It's so transparent.
You're not for the people. Absolutely.
Laid back in the Bahamas.
It's tough.
All right, guys. Let's do it again tomorrow.
All right. See you, good people.